Hey everybody, welcome. Welcome to the February Flex Series, first of this year of 2023. And Happy New Year, Happy 2023 to everybody. Crazy to think. I mean, we started this back in February of 2021. These series with trying to bring content to you, our business partners, to add value, right? No matter what the subject matter may be. Hopefully, this is our 21st live session. I think we took in that time period, we took 1 month off because we had some conflicts here at Flagstar, and then I think we replayed one that we thought was timely last year as well, that we had done. So this is actually going to be our 22nd session in a row. Crazy to think we started this back in February of 2021. But, again, I hope this finds you all, healthy, doing well, safe, hopefully had a great holiday season, and got to spend some time with family, friends, loved ones, and some quality time, right? And if you were traveling, I know it's been kind of interesting with the airlines here over the last 60, 90 days and as recent as yesterday. So hopefully everything was safe and you're doing well. I'm really excited about today's session. And it's funny, we're talking about the kind of history of the evolution of this. Our guest speaker today was actually our first speaker back in February of 2021 when we did this. I went to him. I've known this individual for a very long time now. And at that moment in time, kicking this Flex series off, there was nobody I would rather have on to start the series with us back then and the content that we talked about. And I reached out to him the other day, well, probably a couple of weeks ago, and literally said, I think it's time to have you back on, because what he does for this industry, the content that he brings, the message that he delivers, it's been so important over the time period that he's been doing what he's doing. But I think it's more important than ever today in the environment that we're in, right? As 2023 is unfolding, the year's starting already. There's so much uncertainty in the market, rates, housing, the economy, employment. Start rattling it all off, right? Inflation, recession, you name it. But he's always been extremely consistent in, quite honestly, none of that matters, right? And when it comes to things that you can control, right? I'm a big believer in that. Control what you can control. And I view this individual as a subject matter on all things related to social marketing, branding, and everything that I think falls under that umbrella. So I'm really excited that he agreed to do this with us again today. Obviously, I think it goes without mentioning, but he's the founder of Shred Media. I'd love to bring Josh Pitts onto the stage.
What up, dude? That was legitimately one of the best introductions I've ever got. And I cannot thank you enough. Not only are we friends, John, but I've watched you even when you started this Flex series, and it's been incredible to watch how you have continued to influence and impact people's lives through this Flagstar Flex series. So I'm humbled and honored to be here. I'm grateful for you as a leader, for all that you do for the industry. So thanks for having me here, brother. I'm excited to shred with you.
Yeah, man. Hey, right back at you. I tell people all the time, right? I'm a creature of habit. I'm extremely loyal, and I have my routines, right? And one of the things I've been telling the sales force at Flagstar since the first time I got here was like, there's a couple things you do every day, right? One of them is, maybe it's, you have a subscription to MBS Highway and it's Barry Habib, right? And you're following him. Obviously, the Crispin blog goes out every day, and I think that's a gold standard. And then there's a couple other things outside of like media, but more of like in print, right? But then it's you and it's Shred Media. Like my routine on a daily basis is I'm looking at MBS Highway, I'm looking at Crispin, and then I'm looking at Josh when you put your content out, and I'm following that. I might not see it live, and I might watch the recording, or I might watch it later in the day, but it's one of the things I check off on my list every day. So right back at you, brother. I think sometimes people need to hear it. They have more influence, and they've impacted people more than they think they do on a daily basis. And I put you in that category, brother, because you have been very consistent in the time I know you about your messaging. And more so than not, you've probably lifted people up when they were in a bad spot and you don't know it, right? And so kudos to you.
Thanks,
Hey, man, We started this with you, like I mentioned, right? Back in
Crazy.
February 21. Crazy to think. So how are you doing otherwise, though? Before we get into this, how's things going?
Amazing. Like that. It's so funny you talk about consistency. Like that's the one thing that I've literally preached for years. Is just stay consistent, no matter what I mean, we're going to get into it, but we've just stayed consistent, and I appreciate all the kind words. My goal, my dream is to help impact, is to impact people's lives for the better, to help them see what opportunities lie ahead of them. Doesn't matter. You mentioned recession looming and all these negatives and so much doom and gloom and fear. It doesn't matter. Like as long as you stay consistent, as long as you are taking the right action and executing on simple things. Again, you don't need to make these monumental changes on the small things. You can truly, like this series. That's why I've got so much respect for you. Like you said, 22 consistent episodes. That's huge. Like that is such a valuable resource for all of your partners out there. I wish we saw more of this. I wish we saw companies. I wish we saw more leaders like yourselves willing to put themselves out there and share the knowledge that we do. Now more than ever, we need collaboration. We need to work together because we've already seen some of the lenders, some of our good friends in the industry who've been doing this for a long time. We're seeing some things happen that are truly affecting all of us. I mean, the thing the announcement with Wells Fargo recently, ladies and gentlemen, like there's some things that impact us all. The more we come together, the more we collaborate and have discussions like this. So that's why I have so much mad respect for you, John, and the entire Flagstar team for putting this Flex series on.
Well, so hey, let's get into it, right? Because we like to keep these to the point, short, not
Yeah.
long, drawn out, like maybe some other seminars that people attend.
Yeesh.
That was the first thing I was going to say, which you just saw pop up on your screen. If you got any questions throughout this while Josh and I are going back and forth, submit them down below, and we'll make sure we get them before we get off, for sure. Okay, so let's get into it, brother. Obviously, from a social marketing, branding perspective, I'll give you like a lead in from my perspective, and then let's just kind of, I want to get your thoughts and get your, my goal for this is you as a business partner attending this session, you might hear 10, 15 different things today that Josh talks about, right? Don't try to implement every single one of them. You just figure out where you're at. You might be at the beginning of your kind of journey, so to speak. Figure out one thing and just do it, right? You may have embraced from what Josh talks about on a daily basis and others, and maybe you're a little further along in that journey from a branding and marketing perspective. Okay, take something and add that into the fold. I don't want you to think you're going to hear 5, 6, 7, 8 things and you're going to go do all of them, because when you try to do that, you're going to fail, right? That's just a given. So talk to me, why is it important from your perspective as we sit here today for people to focus on this from a branding and marketing perspective of their own today going forward? What are your thoughts around that?
Man, I honestly, John, I don't think there has ever been a moment in history within the mortgage industry in particular that is so that is so necessary to be active building your brand, whether it's an individual, whether it's a company. I look at people like Gary Vaynerchuk, and so you and I, we follow him very, very closely, but somebody who is far more educated in the world of marketing. He has multi-billion-dollar clients. And I heard him talking the other day about literally this year. And I've been saying this for years and years, like, 2022 is the year of attention. 2021 is the year of social media. And, 2023 is the year of personal branding, or even of your company's brand. And more than anything, it's social media marketing. People, I love that you even say this, John, because so many people, they see social media marketing as this huge, like this BHAG, this big, hairy, audacious goal that I'm just like, I don't even know where to start with social media marketing. And I tell them the best place to start is just freaking start. Like you don't overthink it. You don't have to get overwhelmed with the minutia of it all. All of us, whether you're a marketing team, marketing company, individual, you all have one of these. My first over 100 podcasts and episodes of my show were recorded on an iPhone. That's all you need to get started. If that's the one thing, if you are making these excuses, if you've set these great goals and you're like, yes, I'm like you said, John, I'm going to make a change this year. I'm going to do something different. Start with that. Just start creating content, start building your brand, start putting yourself out there. And again, you don't need to do it in this way that you're overthinking it. Just start sharing your life. Start sharing the things that are important to you. That is important to your community. I say this year, after watching Gary and after watching a few other people that I follow very, very closely, in my opinion, John, this year is the year of community. Community is how you, because at the end of the day, let's just call it is what it is. In the mortgage industry, we're all about building relationships. We're all about building that trust, that confidence, and ultimately that relationship. If you can do that, that will ultimately improve your business. So it's simply looking at it from a branding perspective is like, okay, how can I do that? And what's really, really fun, John, is we just came off this holiday season where most of us spent time with friends and family, attending parties, attending events. I tell people you should be building your brand the same way you show up to a party. And people are like, wait, what? Because most of us think they're like, well, I'm going to start building my brand. I'm going to start marketing. I'm going to start creating these graphics. And I'm going to start telling the world that I'm a mortgage professional, that I'm out there and I'm there to serve them. And I'm going to create this value. I'm like, do you show up to parties like that? Do you walk into a room and be like, ladies and gentlemen, here I am. My name is Josh Pitts. I've got the lowest mortgage rates. I've got the best products. Y'all come talk to me. No, your friends would be like, who the hell are you? Like, get out.
Who invited that guy? Right.
They'd be like, you're not welcome to any more parties. John, that's what social media is about. It's showing up in an organic way that people are like, yeah, John's out there doing his thing. John's out there hitting the golf course. John's out there having those are the things that ultimately you build your brand. And companies are like, no, that's not how we do it. And I'm like, yes, it is. And of course, are companies hitting the golf course? No, but they're sharing what's important to their communities. That's what building a brand is all about. And more than anything this year, John, focus on building a community from a personal standpoint, from a company standpoint. Who is it that ultimately you want to build this relationship with? And you should start thinking about building your brand as serving that community.
It's interesting you say that, Josh, and you elaborated on it a little bit. I'm gonna ask the question, have you dig a little deeper, right? I think. Look, you've been doing this a very long time. We've talked about this. I've been on your show before. I think sometimes it's intimidating, right? Like the idea of, oh my God, social media, videos, this, blogs, this, podcast, this, what should I do, right? And to your point, I think one of the things I'd love to have you dive into, when we talk branding, right? I know you and I have talked about it behind the scenes, but when we talk branding, go deeper on that, because I think like John Gibson, the LO at ABC Mortgage, right?
Sure.
My personal brand, that to me, I think you and I have talked about this for this year. I think that is so crucial in 2023 to be setting yourself up not only for success this year and to take advantage of opportunities, because that's the one thing we'll talk about in a second. But I think there's plenty of opportunity in 2023.
Oh, yeah.
No matter what the challenges are going to be. You got to be willing to set yourself apart. And to me, I think personal branding, people get caught up in, it's all got to be about, this is what I can do for you. This is the products. Here's who I am. Here's how long I've been in the business, blah, 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 blah. And I think to what you just made that analogy about the walking into a party, that misses the mark, right? So talk a little bit more about personal branding at an LO level. Like, what's that mean for you? What would you advise somebody on? And then maybe a good way to start.
100%. So let's kind of break this all down, because this is one of my favorite questions. Because like you said, when we're salespeople at heart, John. That's who we are as mortgage, which is good. Don't get me wrong. I'm not saying it's a bad thing, but the first thing that we try to do right out the gate is we're like, oh, how can I put something out there that people are going to want to buy from me? Like, you're not trying to sell your community. You're just trying to deepen that relationship. You're trying to, as you mentioned, trying to create value. How can I add value more in their life? And people think the only way they can add value, John, is by sharing some of their knowledge. Stay with me here, people. Don't go anywhere yet. But yes, you have an incredible amount of knowledge. Everybody knows that. And I want you to share it. But more than anything, you have to remember here, and I hope this connects with somebody today, because I truly mean this. The reason we all love these devices and the reason we all are on TikTok, Instagram, LinkedIn, YouTube is because we're scrolling and we see something that in our minds or in our hearts, within our being, gets us excited, makes us smile. We love those funny videos, the fail videos that makes us smile, that makes us laugh. I want you to start thinking about that, because that's why most of us are showing up on social media. It's like, sure, every once in a while we're going to learn, we're going to find something new. If we're going to YouTube and trying to how-to something, this and that, absolutely. But for the most part, we're just out there to almost get a break, to see what is entertaining, what's going to make us smile. I want you to listen here closely. The most valuable thing you can do for your community in 2023 is bring them enjoyment, to bring them happiness. And that doesn't mean you have to share the best rates. You have to share the best programs, the best products out there. You sharing something that makes your community smile, John, that can be even more valuable. You started this, and you said some incredibly nice things about me. I put out content in the hopes that somebody sees it and it maybe makes them smile. Because if you make somebody smile, that is even more valuable than providing them the best rate, the best service during their mortgage transaction. If you focus on building your brand that way in this upcoming year with your community, you will see that those relationships will grow in ways that you never expected them to. Because again, you're not focused on just providing them the best service and value when it comes to the mortgage transaction. You're providing them value in their everyday life. And that's what really your brand is, what people say about you when you're not in the room.
That's right. And it's interesting. You touched on a couple of things. I love the concept of community, right? I think that is evolving into, as a loan officer, you're evolving into something much bigger than just what you mentioned: rates, products, service, right? Because let's face it, is that what you want your brand to be? Do you want your brand to be, I have the best rates in town? Well, what happens when you don't have the best rates in town, right? If that's the only value that you're bringing to the table, to your community, to the relationships that you're going to target and work with, right? So I love that, and the adding value part. I would say drill down a little bit further, right? Because I think you're right. Like, at the end of the day, I mean, I do it all the time. I listen to my wife on reels that she's watching, and she'll throw me the phone, like, look at this, right? And it's like just this, whatever, this stupid
Yep.
little thing. And all of a sudden, it just makes you forget about life for a second, and you just laugh, and it puts you in a good mood, right? But go a little deeper. So if you're talking, because again, I want everybody to think like inside your community, right? It could be past clients, past borrowers that you've done loans for. It could be referral relationships that you're already established and you're trying to entrench further with. It could be referral relationships that you're targeting that you want to do business with, whether that be real estate agents, builders, accountants, financial planners, CPAs. Start rattling it all off, right? What's the best way to just simply get started, right? Because I think that's
Mhm.
where people bog down too, Josh, is, okay, all this makes sense, John and Josh. I hear what you're saying. It can't just all be about business. Let's put myself out there. Because again, remember, people like working with people like them, people that they like. That is never going to go old. That's never going to grow old in sales.
Yep.
So if you were starting today, keeping it simple, what would be some of the one or two things you would do to start reaching out to your community in the way that we're talking about now?
Yep. I'm gonna, one of my very, very favorite books of all time is Steal Like an Artist by Austin Kleon. If you've never read it, go read it. It's literally like a picture book. It's back on my shelf behind me, but I'm going to steal like an artist, and I'm going to steal from Gary Vaynerchuk right here. Document, don't create. And this is where you get started. So many people, John, when they're going on this journey of social media content creation, when they're going on trying to build a brand, they're trying to think, what can I share? Where do I start? What can I be doing? Like, well, Josh, I don't know what to share with my community. Share what's important to you. Share. As a matter of fact, our Shred You community that we're building, this is what we focus on. And so many people get hung up on but Josh, like, I don't know how to talk about my business. And I'm like, especially if you haven't posted on a regular basis, or if you're not posting it consistently, you shouldn't come out the guns like posting about business, because again, you want people to see you there in your authentic or organic you. And again, going back to my party reference, you're not showing up at a party just saying, hey guys, I'm here to talk about mortgage. You're there to talk about the things that interest you, that intrigue you. So if you're somebody, I'm going to, like John said, I'm going to really dig deep for you here. Start sharing things that you are very, very like. What are your hobbies outside? What's your side hustle? What are the things that you really enjoy that you connect with people outside of work? If work, you're saying, well, Josh, mortgage is my life. No, it's not. Like we all have something that is, whether it's family, whether it's food, whether it's our hobbies outside, right? Everybody knows my life outside mortgage, and I'm going to give this example to hopefully it connects with you here. When I was an originator and still have an origination license here in the state of Utah, but when I was really producing heavily as a mortgage professional, I had this brand as the outdoor LO. I loved being outdoors. I still love being outdoors to this day. One of my top referral partners actually came from a mountain biking group. I invited a whole bunch of people to say, hey, we're going on this mountain biking ride. I'm going to give this tour of northern Utah. Come with us. A realtor ended up joining. Him and I did a quick video after our ride. The thing went mini viral in the state of Utah. We got deal after deal after deal, but it was because I shared my love for the outdoors. I shared my love for mountain biking. I didn't go post about business. I shared my love for mountain biking. People are like, Josh, it can't be that simple. It really is. That is what's going to lead to these relationships and these opportunities with the referral partners, with your community, sharing the things that really mean something to you, because they're going to see that. They are going to feel that more than anything. They're like, man, I didn't know John loved golf as much as I did. Like those are the things. That's where you have to start. Please, for the love, do not just come out the gate, especially if you haven't started like building a brand, saying, okay, I'm going to go to and again, nothing about some of the company. I'm going to go to my company. I'm going to get a bunch of this pre-populated content and just start posting it. People have to know you. All you have to do, you are beautiful. Every single one of you listening today, you're beautiful in your own right. All you have to do is hit the record button, do a quick picture. Don't overthink it. Like, John, you mentioned this. Some people get this fear of like, oh, I'm scared of what I look like on camera. Ladies and gentlemen, you look exactly the same on camera as you do in person. Stop overthinking it. As a matter of fact, John, I tell people this especially when I work with executives, when people come to me, they're like, Josh, well, I feel like it's arrogance if I'm sharing. They're like, I feel cocky when I'm sharing certain things, or I think people are judging me because, oh, look at them sharing their life and look at me. I think the opposite. If you're not willing to share and being able to share the things that are going on in your life, I think that's selfish, because each and every one of us hold this innate gift and talent to impact and change people's lives, whether it's helping them get a mortgage, whether it's helping them on the journey they're on. If you're not putting yourself out there, you are being selfish in the way that who knows whose life you can impact. So to break this down, to answer your question, John, the place to start is start sharing things, start building your brand around the things that you really enjoy. Don't let it just be mortgage. Don't come out thinking you have to share mortgage.
Well, and God, there's so much good content in that part right there. And I loved your example as being known as the outside LO, right? Like, if you know Josh, he's very active. He loves being outside. He loves being outdoors, whether it be mountain biking, getting on the board and shredding down a mountain, you name it. You can see his brand is in his work every day. It's behind him right now too. But I love that, right? So my question to everybody that is either going to see this live or will watch it in a later date is, what's your passion, right? How do you build your brand around your passion? You might have a lot of them, right? But like, figure out the one that you're most passionate about. And then, as you mentioned, I love the word community. You're branding yourself with inside your community. And I love your thought, right? The analogy you gave, hey, we're going to do a bike ride. And I'm gonna, in essence, be the tour guide of the bike ride. Come join me. Real estate agent joins you. You snap a picture. It goes viral. Next thing you know, how many other people are you building relationships with off of your brand with inside that community that never mentioned I have the best rates in town?
Nope. Well, even take that one step further, John.
Yeah.
So this realtor partner, after I did that, and again, this was years ago. This was 6-7 years ago. I did one picture, posted it on social media. He saw that as incredibly valuable. I tagged him in it. It went to my community. You want to really create value for your referral partners this year? Create content with them. Build your brand by stop worrying about bringing the donuts and taking them to lunch and doing this you really want to bring them opportunity, bring them new deals, and do that by creating content together and sharing them with your community, bro.
God, it's a bullet point for me to ask you a question about. So let's go into it, right? Because that was the next thing in my mind. Number one is take the advice, start, Keep it simple. Don't be elaborate. Don't try to have a plan or a strategy that's tenfold that you got to do 18 different things to get there.
No.
Start with, as Josh keeps pulling up, this thing, take a picture, take a video. Again, what we just talked about, figure out what your passion is, what your passion is outside of what we do day in and day out, and create your brand, your personal brand around that inside your community. Now go one step further, Josh, which is what you just talked about. So as you're doing that, how do you add value inside your community with people that you want to do business with? So thoughts on that?
Yeah. Oh my gosh. This is one I could talk about for hours just in and of itself, because again, going back to what we were talking about when it comes to value, value can mean so many different things. Value can getting somebody to smile, but when it comes down to your community, think about, let's just take a referral partner, whether it's a CPA, whether it's a realtor, whether it's an attorney, builder, whoever. All you really want to create value for them. Go back to what I just said. Start creating content with them. Start creating so you can share it with your community, because your community is going to see it. Their community is going to see it. And as that grows, it's the compound effect. It's the exponential effect. That is literally by far and away the most valuable thing. If I were going back into origination today, John, if I said, hey, I'm going to go back into it, I'm going to start, as an originator, I'm going to go build, a multi-million-dollar business just in originating, that's where I would start. I would get with my local realtors. I would sit down with them. I would have a conversation. I'd record the entire freaking thing. And I'd go back and I'd create a little piece of content, a little snippet of something that realtor said, and I'd share with my community. I'm tagging them in it. So again, my community seeing it, their community seeing it. That is what value looks like in the world of social media marketing, in the world of branding. This is the future of marketing, is being able to collaborate even with your community. We have an incredible gal in our Shred U community who just started reaching out to her CRM, her community on social media, finding out what they do for a living. And she's doing it a weekly series on her community. So again, these aren't referral partners. She's just finding out what they do. And she's saying, oh my gosh, she found this incredible plumber in her community that she didn't know. He lives down the street. She did a house for him just a few years ago, and she forgot that he's a plumber. So she's like, hey, I'd love for you to come on the show. She did a quick little podcast with him. And now this guy is a client for life. I watched the episode, and you should have seen this guy's face, John. Ear to ear smile. He was all over the place. Like it was kind of like, whoa, hone it in here, my guy. But you could tell that he was just like over the moon that somebody had taken the opportunity and gave him a small platform. This was maybe 6 minutes long. That's all it was. But this dude, I promise you, guarantee it, that he will always use Michelle for the rest of his life if it ever comes to mortgage, because he created that, or she created that value. That's it.
Not only will he, but then think about it, right? It spirals from there. Yeah. His family, friends, relatives, anybody who's looking for a referral that may be a business partner of his, like a client of his, he may be in a conversation with them, and right away there's a referral to that individual from a mortgage perspective. So think about this, guys. Create content, simple video, post it on your, creating your brand. And again, like we talked about, pick something that you're passionate about. Now you take it a step further in your community, to Josh's point. How do I add value to people inside the community? Okay, guess what? That plumber probably never thought about doing something like that ever. What value does that bring? You think about real estate agents. Hey, a lot of them are trying to embrace social media and marketing. A lot of them aren't, but they need to, right? So to Josh's point, you think it's going to be hard to get a meeting when you tell somebody, hey, I want to sit down with you. I want to interview you. I want to talk about the local marketplace, our community, and how you fit into it, what you're passionate about. And then I'm going to post it. It's free. Doesn't cost a thing. It gets their name out there. It gets their business model out there. And it's all about the referral source inside your community. What better way and easier way? And it doesn't cost you a thing.
John, and to this point, here's the best part about this is we have a gentleman in our Shred U community. He just started on social media 2 months ago. He came to us, said, hey, we need help. Can you help me? I said, yeah, let's do this. So he's taken this to heart, and he started reaching out to realtors. And many of you are thinking, well, Josh, I don't have a platform like Shred Media. I'm not an influencer. I don't have any impact. These people aren't going to want to be on my show. This gentleman in our group, again, brand new to social media 2 months ago. He's reaching out to realtors saying, hey, I've got a podcast. Would you do? People are like, oh, I want to be like, every once in a while, you'll get somebody who's a little bit nervous and a little bit timid. That's okay. Get them out of their comfort zone. Give them a couple of talking points. Say, hey, I'm going to share this with our local community. Let's talk about, you're a realtor, the community. Let's talk about the top 3 schools in our community. This guy literally, this is what he's doing. I'm giving you guys the secret here. This is what he's doing. He's like, hey, on my podcast, I want to share what the top 3 schools are in your opinion. He's getting realtors that are like, absolutely. In 2 months, he has realtors reaching out to him like, hey, I've got a cool school that I want to talk about in the community as well. This is just this idea. People overthink it, like, I don't know what to talk about. People aren't going to want to be on my podcast because it's not a big deal. You tell people you have a podcast, people are like, yeah, sweet, I want to be on your podcast. That's just human nature. We love when people are willing to promote us and willing to talk about us, John.
That's right. And look, to Josh's point, I'll keep it in the same vein. It's about community, right? So I can tell you right now, I grew up in South Jersey, and there's a real estate agent that, like, buddy of mine that I grew up with that is a real estate agent, and literally started his own podcast out of his basement at his bar in his basement. And literally he brings people on. And I watched it the other day. He brought the owner of like a very popular Italian restaurant where we grew up on. You have no idea once that hit, how many people saw that inside that community. And now, do you not think that the owner of that real estate agent, or I'm sorry, Italian restaurant isn't going to think of that real estate agent anytime there's a conversation about need? Like,
all day.
You have to take the barriers and just break them down, right? Just be yourself, create value. Content creation is easier probably than it's ever been. So it's interesting that you say that. What else, Josh? So actually, let me ask you this question, because I got a couple questions that popped up while we're talking. So one of them was, and I like this one, what social media outlets do you recommend? And the qualifying was, please don't say all. Short videos seem to be the best approach. What do you think? So
love this.
What platforms? Don't say all.
Nope.
And our videos, what some of the key components that people should be using?
I am not going to say all of them because right now they are not created equal. And I'm going to come at this from a very analytical. I typically don't come this way, but I'm going to come at this because I want this to be beneficial to all of you. Number one, whatever platform you are on the most should be the platform you start on. Like literally, because you're familiar with the platform, you're familiar with like what type of content is there. So your mind already kind of gets it, whether you think it does or not, whether it's Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, YouTube, TikTok. I'm telling people, stay away from TikTok right now. Everybody thinks it's this huge movement, and yes, but there's just too much uncertainty around it. I'm telling people, your big 3 still, your Facebook, your Instagram, your LinkedIn, and YouTube, stick with those. But if I was to choose one today, and I seriously mean this, it would be Facebook. And people would they're like, no, Josh, Facebook is dead. If you think Facebook is dead, you're dead wrong. Because again, I can show you from the clients that we work with to our own analytics, Facebook has never been more relevant. And especially when it comes to Reels. So this question right here, if you're starting right now, 2 things I recommend: get on Facebook or Instagram, because again, remember they're owned one and the same, but Facebook even more, and be doing stories. Stories are what you are doing throughout the life. As a matter of fact, John, I'm going to show you how easy this is right now. I'm not going to let anybody freaking make an excuse, because I'm going to show you how easy a story is. We're going to do it here with everybody right now. Yep. What's up, everybody? Hanging out with John Gibson with the Flagstar Flex series, and I'm showing how easy it is to do a story. We're done. Let's go. That's it. Posted, done. I'm not going to edit it. It's literally, I just posted. If you go follow me on my Instagram channel, you're going to see that was a story. Stories are designed to share what's going on in your everyday life. This is where you see a lot of people posting about meals and posting about things that they're doing. I even love me and my team, I listen to music a lot. My team listens to music. So we're even sharing some of the music that we're listening. Stories can be anything. What's cool about stories, John? They disappear within 24 hours. So even if you screwed up or didn't say something perfect, was that perfect right there? No, the light was shining into it. It's not going to be the best post, but I posted. I'm telling that story of what's going on in my life. The second one is Reels. Reels are the longer ones. Reels can be a little bit longer. They're typically designed to share a little bit more content or share something else with a little bit more meat to it, if you will. So Reels are absolutely Mark Zuckerberg has announced, and is really their entire team, Reels is a huge focus. To this person's comment or question, short form content is absolutely king. So the stories, those short reels, but I tell everybody too, have a podcast, because as I've been teaching with a lot of our Shred U community, even on this, as I've shared some of these examples, they're doing that 6-minute interview, John. And then what we do is I'm like, hey, that I went and watched this episode with this plumber. I'm like, that from minute 2 to 2 minutes and 35 seconds, he said something that was a very good actionable item. Go cut that, make it a great clip, put it in your reels. Now you're doing this 6-minute show that you're getting 2 or 3 pieces of additional short form content from. It's this stuff. This is, like you said, John, this is simple. Keep it simple. We can all do this stuff. You don't need editing. You don't need all this stuff, but this is the stuff that truly, truly works.
Yeah. And hey, I'm going to stick with the questions because they're starting to come in fast and furious.
Let's go.
In the same vein, since we were talking Facebook stories, I'm going to ask you this one.
Yep.
The question was, can we or should we do these on our business page, personal page, or both?
Oh my freaking hell. I hate this question. Like literally. I would say this is top 3 questions of all time. I get this so much. And I say this respectively because there's Flagstar is a great, like, I'm just going to call it as is. I want everybody to stay compliant. And that is a very, very big thing. I've seen really crappy posts. Going back to you even mentioned this earlier, John. If you're one of those people who think they need to be posting about rates and programs, you're going to get yourself in trouble. I coach everybody, you never have to talk about rates and programs. That is designed for a very intimate one-on-one personal conversation. If you think you need to build your brand off that, you literally should just do not start. Don't even freaking start, because I call people out. If I see loan officers, and I do this to help them, I'd be like, hey, John, I saw you posted that, rates are this and da-da-da-da. Please don't do that. It's not good for you. It's not good for the industry. Plus, if the CFPB or your company gets wind of this because you're posting this, you're going to get your ass canned. So stop. Yep. So to this point, man, there's a lot we could dive into on that one, John, because I say personal. I'm just going to business pages are designed for monetization. That is, if you want to go run ads, if you want to go do it in that way. And again, I'm trying to be respectful, because some companies, some of my biggest clients that we work with are like, hey, we require them to have a business page. And I say, great, they can have it, but I'm going to help them on their personal page, because their personal page is where their community is at. And I always tell, and when companies come at me like, well, we don't allow them to have a personal page. I'm like, you can't control them sharing their personal things, especially if they're not posting about business, which I coach don't post. You don't need to post about business. Don't worry about it. Business, your personal page. Plus, this is a fact. I can show you the data on this. Your personal page is getting way more engagement than your business page, unless you are paying to play on your business page. And even then, most of you do not have a budget to compete with the big players. So I mean it. So John, sorry, that was a long way to say, stay with the personal page. That's the best right now.
I think that's a great, when that question gets asked, I compartmentalize it, right?
Oh yeah.
For the business page, for me, is more of just that, the company, but the personal brand, the building within the community that we've been talking about, to me, that's very much more the personal aspect of it, right?
100%.
So I love where you're going.
I want to hit this real quick, John, because all those, for all the lenders and all the vendors out there who are like, well, this isn't helping us build our brand. Yes, it is. If you have John building his personal brand, ultimately he's going to be getting more business, which is helping your company. Is he shouting, XYZ lender from the roof? No, but ultimately, because he is out there with his community, that is bringing the business back to you. So don't worry that they don't have the brand up in the right-hand corner of your company. Companies have to stop thinking that is such a short-minded play. Think the long game. They're going to build their brand, which is going to bring more business in the door. Sorry, I'm done.
Well, also think big picture, right? What we're talking about building your brand inside your community is not posting about your rates, your products, your guidelines, your process, your turn times. That's not what we're talking about in building your social brand, right? Your own personal brand. So why, to me, the answer would always be, I would want to do that on my personal page.
Bingo.
All right. So there were a couple questions around that, which I think we've touched on. Another one came up. I think we've talked about this in past sessions, maybe not today in specifically, but I'm going to ask you. In doing a podcast, where should you post it? And the follow up to that was, I have a YouTube channel. I'm working videos and info for realtor community and consumers. Would that work? Does this work good using YouTube?
Yes, I think YouTube is one of the absolute. This is a question. It's funny that we're even hitting this question. I've referenced my Shred U community a few times, but we've been talking a lot about podcasting. You can go the traditional route of hosting out on like a Libsyn or a Buzzsprout or iTunes and go that traditional route. But by far and away, I'm just going to use a great example, the Joe Rogan Experience. I watched the Joe Rogan Experience on YouTube for years as a podcast until recently, until he got bought by Spotify, and now it's on Spotify. But I always recommend if you have a podcast, whatever platform, again, as I mentioned, the Facebook, Instagram, I love YouTube because it's evergreen. You record whether you're using StreamYard, Riverside, Zoom. Don't use Zoom. Zoom's such a terrible podcasting platform. If you find something else, that's a whole other conversation. But use YouTube. It's great. Record it on StreamYard or Riverside, and then you post it on YouTube. And now, again, when I'm working out of the gym, I typically can't watch YouTube, but I'm on YouTube and I'm listening to it. So I'm still listening to a podcast on YouTube. I think YouTube's a great place to host it. Or even Facebook. I have some of the people we work with, they still just post it directly to Facebook. They'll record it, whether it's like I said, whether it's on Riverside or here on StreamYard, then they'll go and they'll post it directly on the page. So don't overthink it. If you're doing it on YouTube, stay with YouTube and let that roll. The only thing I'd recommend with that is if you really want to go into the stay in the podcast realm, then use something like Buzzsprout that you can syndicate it over to iTunes, Spotify, and you can truly, mass it out and you don't have to do any extra work. You just put it into Buzzsprout and it does it for you.
That's off and running. Yeah. I think you just answered this question, but I'm going to ask it anyway, just so you can drill the point home.
Yeah.
It was obviously suggestions on podcast platforms, and we talked about YouTube. And then the person asked, just video or just audio? Does it matter? Can it be both? And it's a good question because I've seen podcasts that are video, and then I've seen like Clayton at Housing Wire does the podcast, and there's no video, it's just all audio, right? So, And then you just mentioned, I could be working out, I'm not seeing the video, but I'm listening to it. So really, it's all the above, right?
Yep. And I'm going to steal this from Joe Rogan. One of the reasons I actually started Shred, I had been working on another podcast. Everybody knows, if you follow me for a long time, I did a podcast called The LO Life. I had an outdoor podcast, but I actually met Joe Rogan years ago at an outdoor event, and we were talking about podcasting. And I asked him this question. And this is when he was like, the Joe Rogan Experience was kind of just like taking off. It really wasn't a big deal. But because I had met him, I was like, this is cool. He said, why would you not do video? Because just to your point, Joe or John, like, people are going to listen to YouTube. I listen to YouTube even if I'm not watching it. I'm still going to listen. People are visual, and especially because we all have these things now, visual is becoming so much more important. I watch videos that I may not even actually watch the video. I'm just listening to it. So always do video. Always, always, always. Because what's cool about that, John, especially if you use StreamYard or Riverside, it strips the audio for you. Record it video. And if you want to just take it to even Spotify now is allowing videos for certain people as they release more and more podcasts. But if you're putting on iTunes or whatever, that audio is already there for you. Like, just hit the record button, because what's fun too is about my team, my very favorite thing that my team does for me is when I'm doing a podcast like this, they'll go back and take this and they'll do little clips of like faces Josh makes. Like, you can just do like fun stuff on it that you don't think about. So always record video.
Yeah. Think about that's the other thing too. Have fun with this, right? Like, it doesn't need to be perfect. Half the content I've ever done has been the screw up ones, right? Where I say something stupid, or I do something dumb, or the phone goes off because I forgot to mute it, or the dog breaks through the door and jumps up in my lap. Like, have fun with it, right? Okay. Couple more one more question, and I want to talk about two things real quick.
Yeah.
Somebody said, what happened to the mortgage mullet?
I cut my mullet. Yeah, people. I didn't have a mullet. People think I had a mullet too, John, but I actually had long hair. I think you saw I had long hair. It was always pulled back behind my hat, so people thought I had a mullet. But no, I just had super long hair. We just decided I was done with it. I have a mad respect for women now with long hair, because having long hair is a lot of work.
Oh my God. Yeah. My daughter will angst over doing her hair, and I just laugh like I haven't had that problem since I was a freshman in high school, right? So I don't have to worry about it.
Yeah.
Okay, two things I want to cover. One, kind of in closing, I love the whole conversation around community, building your social brand, getting started. Don't try to do 10 things, just pick your lane, pick your passion. Kind of give me a summary and recap. If you were counseling somebody one-on-one today that's just getting started, what would be like your mantra to them as far as, getting started?
My mantra wrapping all this up is get
Yeah.
started. Don't overthink. Like I said, just find something today and simply start hitting the record button. I'm going to reference one more time this incredible device. You literally, all you have to do is find something that it may not even have to be your passion, John, something that just brings you enjoyment in your life, because if it brings you enjoyment, it brings somebody else enjoyment. Like, just even if you think quilting is boring, is like, if you love quilting and that's your thing, trust me, I live in Utah. We're like the quilting capital of the world. And there are podcasts upon podcasts about quilting. And I'm like, hey, there's definitely a niche for everything. Whatever that thing is, just start with it. Like that. Don't overthink it. Don't worry about perfection. Perfection kills progress. Just literally. And I would tell you this too, because there are people like Gary Vaynerchuk and people who are saying, you need to create 100 pieces of content a day. That's bullshit. Like, all you need to do, like, do what you can commit to. And this is the first thing. When anybody reaches out to me with content, I tell them, what can you commit to? Can you commit to once a week? Awesome. We're going to start there. I'm like, we'll even give you an idea to post about. Like, all I need you to do is commit to once a week and start do that. And then after we've got that nailed in, we've hit 6 weeks, 8 weeks consistently. Great. Let's bump it up to twice a week. And let's start with baby steps, because everybody who starts building a brand or start creating social media marketing content, they're just like, well, I have to post once a day. Like, I can't do that. But this is why I recommend Facebook stories. Is Facebook stories, as I did, 10 minutes ago, it was quick. It's done. I don't have to worry about it. Like, I've already done it. That's content created. So everybody listening, to wrap this entire, just do it. Stop making excuses. It's not as hard as you think it is. If you need help, shoot me a message. I'd love to help you out. People like John, just don't overthink it. Just do it.
I love the perfection kills progress. I love that. So here's the last thing I want to ask you, Josh.
Yeah.
And obviously, as you're watching this and seeing this, you can see where you can reach out to Josh on LinkedIn as well. You've mentioned it a couple of times, and I want to give you a moment to talk about it. So you got a lot of things going on. Talk about Shred You, because you and I talked about it, and wow, is there value to that? So talk for a very quick period about Shred You and what you're doing.
Yeah. So Shred You has been a passion project for me. And it's funny, I didn't even know it was there. I had one of our clients reach out to me and say, hey, Josh, we really want you to build a course for our loan officers to help them build a brand, to help them to build their business on social media. So I started putting this together, started recording all this content, putting all the content together about building a podcast. Like the questions we're answering here: what platforms? How do I post? John, I was amazed that people didn't know the basics of, like, how do you post a reel on Instagram? I was like, that seems like super simple, but people didn't know how to do it. People didn't know how to put up a video on YouTube. People didn't know ideas. So I said, instead of just creating this for one of my clients, for one lender, I want to create for everybody. Like, originators are my passion. They're at my heart. I'm still an originator. I know I don't originate. So people are like, well, you can't say you're an originator. I'm still licensed. I went through the CE like everybody else. I don't produce, but I know what it takes to be a successful originator. I know what it takes to build a brand. So I said, let's build a community that teaches people how to build a community. Let's teach them how to show up, and this entire conversation, how to add value. So we took every excuse you could possibly have out of it. We give you a content calendar. We give you a trends report that's like, hey, what's trending on these different, whether it's Facebook, YouTube, if you do the whole TikTok thing, whatever it is. And then we meet once a week, John. As a community, we meet once a week to talk about best practices. We answer the questions. Literally, like I said, we had an entire hour and a half conversation this week about starting a podcast, because our community, like, okay, Josh, you have a podcast. How do I create pillar content to create micro content? We take the hard work out of creating social media, and we give people, we give them the guidebook on where to start, how to start, and just stop making excuses. So Shred You has just been so much fun. I've loved it. I was even telling your team as we were getting ready for this, I love Shred Media. I love helping big billion-dollar brands that we work with. I think it's so much fun. But when I get to work with these individuals who I see that they are impacting the lives of their community, that's where I get pumped, because I see somebody make a simple post, and it may be their first post. It may be, they're 3 months into this, but I see them make a post and I see their progress, and I see somebody comment within their community like, John, thank you for sharing this. This made a difference for me today. That's what it's all about. Like, that's Shred You.
Yeah. Hey, guys, there's how you get in touch with Josh. If you don't have his other info, I highly encourage you, if you're interested in this and you're on the fence about how do I start, how do I get going, you should reach out to Josh and kind of inquire about that Shred You. Look, I said in the beginning, when it comes to this type of stuff, there's one person I always think of when somebody's talking about branding, marketing, social. Josh is in my circle. He's the subject matter expert on this, in my opinion. For what it's worth, my opinion.
Thanks, man.
But you should check that out. Because again, even if you think you know what you should be doing, think about the community that's in that Shred You, sharing ideas, sharing content, sharing successes, sharing failures. What better way to accelerate your brand than to learn from others that are already doing it, or to get guidance from experts like Josh and his team? So check it out. It doesn't hurt to inquire.
Thanks,
hey, Josh, with that being said, brother, as always, great show. I love being engaged with you. I always love doing this type of content with you. And I can't thank you enough for coming on today.
No, thank you, John. This has been amazing. Like I said in the beginning, I'm truly proud of you for what Flagstar and the Flex Series is doing for all of its vendor partners and all the partners that are associated with you guys. So kudos to you. Keep doing it. Keep sharing. Keep shredding. Love it, brother. Thanks so much.
Hey, one last thing. I need some of that new gear. We took him off. I need some of the new gear you keep touting whenever it comes.
Okay.
I need some shred.
I know we got to get that. Hey, we got to get it. Got to get repping that shred. Done.
Got to get you on the golf course again when I'm out there.
Let's go.
All right, brother. Thanks, man.
I'll see you.
All right, gang. Hey, thank you so much for joining this series. If you were live, thank you so much for taking the time to review it or to watch it. If you're not watching the live recording, again, hopefully, the point of this was to bring value, right? It's not about our products, our services, our guidelines. If you go back through all these sessions, the 21 or 22 that we've done now, it's not what it's about, right? Trying to just bring value to you to help you grow your book of business and your brand inside your community, as we're talking about today. So I was really excited about that. And then look, next one in February, kind of lead into what we're going to be doing. So it's going to be on February 16th, 2 p.m. And we have Dave Stevens, Mountain Lake Consulting president. Obviously, if you're in this industry, you know who Dave Stevens is. We have him coming on board and really talking about, 2023 outlook from an economic perspective, from a mortgage perspective. And he's got some really good viewpoints on what I call like your perspective, right? And where your focus should be and how you should be viewing 2023 as an opportunity, and not this, kind of woe is me market where I'm going to just bury my head in the sand and try to make it through to the other side. Dave's got really good perspective on, how you should be viewing things and what you should be doing to set yourself up for success this year and beyond. So we are really excited to have Dave come on board in February. As always, can't say thank you enough for attending and watching. Cannot say thank you enough for your partnership. We know you have choices at the end of the day, and certainly we appreciate being one of those choices that you consider. And to all of our partners on the phone, we certainly appreciate your partnership. So, hey, make it a great day. And we look forward to doing this again in February with Dave on the 16th. Have a good one.